John did something that he doesn't normally do. He decided to come on and recap everything that's happened in the history of the dabbleverse. And I have some thoughts about that and why he was doing that. But of course, things started off the way they always start off, with people fucking with John during the show.
I had Joey C on, and he was saying, well, John, you started the dabbleverse. That's not true. That's not true.
Unknown caller.
Oh, the little child he's up. Oh, boy. Oh, he's up. What a shame. Oh, I gotta, I'd like to make him happy because this way, he could jerk off at home and be like, I got the Duke again.
I don't think his reaction is having the effect that he wants it to have. He thinks he's clowning this guy who always fucks with him now every show and calls his phone. And it's funny because John tried to put his phone on silent and it's still ringing because it's still connected to his computer that he's running his show on. He's like, I don't know how to get this to stop. I hate this phone. But the fact that this guy calls him to fuck with him and John does this whole performance of jerking off and stuff, I think the guy's going, yeah, this was fun. This was worth a phone call.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. It's a good use of my time.
Remember when his mother couldn't stop the ringing? So
Yes.
he was ripping the phones out of the wall.
I'll never forget. It was one of the best days of my life. It really was.
Never forget.
I'll never forget that day. All right. So you just heard Joey C said that John started the dabbleverse, and John's going to explain he did not start the dabbleverse. He wants to set the record straight once and for all.
But if you really want to go over how I know I've done it before, but those who are newbies in this cesspool of ridiculousness, let me just say what really happened. Had nothing to do with me having any problems with a lot of the people that seem to be obsessed with me.
Okay. Did you follow any of that, Adam?
I was really trying.
I know.
I really was.
I think he was trying to say that he didn't draw first blood.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I believe that's what he's trying to say. What was odd about that clip, and I'm going to give you my theory on this. What's odd about that clip is he goes, for anyone who's new to this, I want to give you a recap of what's going on. Who would be new to this? Who is watching Stuttering John in September of 2025 who's going, I wonder what John's up to? Who isn't wildly aware of the dabbleverse and everything that's been going on. That's everyone in this chat knows exactly what's going on. But then I thought, there is one new guy who might be watching. John just added a second attorney to his team. Huh. Could that be a new guy who's watching this? Is he recapping all of this? Because maybe it's cheaper than being on a phone call. He's like, I'll just do it on my show. You just watch it at your leisure and then bill me for it. So this is like to get his attorney up on the LOLsuit, maybe?
Well, that makes sense because that's on his mind. And
it's on his mind.
And he can only have one thing on his fucking mind.
That is true. Yeah. Maybe a little revenge porn's on his mind too. But yeah, this LOLsuit, we have a big thing coming up on Friday. And he added a second attorney, which was odd, but it's fine. But I figure that's the only guy who could be new. And I think I'm going to have some evidence in here in this package that shows I might be onto something with this. But so John goes back to 2016. Starts talking about the shows he did for Podcast One with Tammy Pescatelli. They were just lighthearted shows where they just had Howie Mandel on. They just did interviews and they're gone. I wish they existed. If anyone has them, let me know. I'd love to go back.
It was called Love and Other something. It had like a long name, like the something podcast with Stuttering John Melendez and Tammy Pescatelli.
Yeah,
Love and Other something.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I wish I knew the answer to that. I should know the answer to that.
Well, he stayed on with love as his theme, so that's good.
That's good. Yes. So he goes all the way back there. And then he gets caught up to WATP, springing up on the scene in 2018.
But right around this time, Just Do It, a person I had never heard of, started to play my podcast and goof on me for no apparent reason. I had never heard of the guy, like most Americans.
Yeah, it's because I'm not famous. I love that he thinks that's an insult. You know, most Americans never heard of Carl from one of these podcasts. Yeah, no shit. Why would they?
So then why do you care what he says?
Right.
Why
but
would
he always thinks that's an insult. He's just like, yeah, and this guy from one of these podcasts, no one even knows who he is. Of course not. So he goes, for no apparent reason. I'll explain. We started the show with the format of making fun of people's podcasts. And then we discovered that Stuttering John had a podcast. And Kevin and I did a show where we pulled clips and made fun of his podcast. That was the reason. It was actually very well received by our audience. Worked out very well. So well that we decided to keep tabs on him and keep checking back on what he was up to. So there wasn't no reason, a very specific reason. Makes logical sense. And John goes on to explain what we were doing and why.
This is just fact. And Just Do It decided to goof on me and Opie. Why? Because
I like that this LOLsuit that's going on. Like, he never brings it up. And he'll never say my name, but he'll say Just Do It now instead of Lady K. That's become, it's like, it doesn't matter. We'll put in the paperwork, whenever you say Just Do It, you mean Carl. You know what I mean? It's that easy. You'll have to explain that one time, and then the rest of it is fine. So he really thinks he's just a legal mastermind getting around all the loopholes out here. I didn't talk about him.
That's why I added another attorney. I'm going to sue you twice as hard.
Yeah, right.
why? Because Opie and I are successful. And we garner an audience. So his business model was, let's attack those that have names, that have big followings, and then we'll attack them, and then they'll react, and then we're in business.
So Opie never reacted. So John's claiming that my business model is I go after podcasts that have big audiences, and then they react, and then we're in business. Even though if you go back to our early episodes, we talked about bronies a lot, and furries, and a lot of people don't have big audiences.
There's a lot of holes in this story, man.
There's a lot of problems with it. The fact that we were just waiting for someone to react to it. Come on, Opie. I guess I'll just do 500 more episodes about it. Maybe at some point he'll acknowledge us.
We'll wait.
Right.
And when we were picking people, celebrities above us, no one said, maybe you want to aim a little higher if that's what you're going for.
Yeah. No one said, Joe Rogan has a bigger audience than Opie or John.
Yeah, but
why don't you?
We got
also,
this.
He's been trashing Anthony Cumia pretty consistently. How come his show isn't blowing up if that's the formula?
Yeah, he was going after Anthony and Artie. So we're going back on our Patreon, or if you're a YouTube member, we're doing this Living in the Past series with Stuttering John, listening to all the 2018 podcasts John put out. And it's eye-opening how John was just bashing everyone and now plays this victim card of this guy just minding his own business. He was going after everyone on the Howard Stern show. Gary Delabate on a daily basis. They're just talking mad shit. They're going after Anthony and Artie. It's nonstop going after Artie Lang, who at the time was still on the air. Right. And so why didn't that work for you? Because Anthony and Artie responded. They would respond to you. So why didn't this work out the same way? Yeah. I guess maybe you had the same business model. You couldn't figure it out. This clip, though, right here is my favorite.
So my reaction initially is normally like I react. I am reactionary. My favorite sports that I played were reactionary. Baseball and football. Ball thrown to you, you hit it. Football, wow. Guys running with the ball, you tackle them. It's a reactionary sport, and I'm a reactionary person.
Well, that's retarded.
That is retarded.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard him say, and that's saying something.
He's talking about his inability to regulate his emotions as if it's a skill.
Yes.
That's what I have going for me.
This is what I do. I overreact to things and make them worse.
Because I'm a child.
It's a very childish behavior. I can't believe his brain went to sports. The sports I like are reactionary. What's a sport that's not reactionary?
I was thinking the same thing. A staring contest.
Yeah, what would be a sport Where there isn't like some person does a thing and then you do a thing based on that thing. God, that's stupid.
It is so stupid.
Can I play just the beginning of that
Yeah,
again?
play the whole thing, man.
I want
Simon says his reaction.
Jack off.
All right, let's hear this again. This is incredible.
So my reaction initially is normally like I react. I am reactionary. My favorite sports that I played were reactionary. Baseball and football. Ball thrown to you, you hit it. Football, guys running with the ball, you tackle them. It's a reactionary sport, and I'm a reactionary person.
Well, that's retarded.
I have to say, too, that he's not even correct. No. Not to ant fuck here, but if a ball's thrown to you in baseball, you don't hit it, you catch it. They throw it to the catcher. The batter tries to hit it. It's not thrown to you.
Those are my favorite sports.
Those are the reactionary sports that I love, too. So now John tries to weave in this right of publicity thing that I'm being sued for and Shuli's being sued for. And so he's recreating and reinventing history for, I believe, his new attorney. And there's a reason why I believe that.
Opie and I, we didn't know who this loser was. And we decided to go, just say, call him out. And,
So John's not lumping Opie into this.
I know.
Opie and I decided to call him out.
Yeah, we had a meeting.
Opie never talked about us. And in fact, this was going back to a time when Opie and John did a show together. I believe I called it My Super Bowl. And we covered that show, and I was never brought up once. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a conversation beforehand or communication that's just like, yeah, I'm not going to address who are these podcasts. Because we were going pretty hard in the paint at both of those guys at the time. Either way, Opie never did anything, and now John's pretending that like, hey, I'm just like Opie. Like we both decided.
Opie and I, we didn't know who this loser was. And we decided to go, just say, call him out. And, now that only gave him some steam, which he puts in his, when he does his marketing events. Who do you think, take a guess, what celebrity's name is on his flyer, if you will, his pamphlet? I'm sure somebody could send it to me. Mine. He has to use me even in that.
So when he says marketing events, I believe he's talking about our live shows. Okay. And I think he's trying to he's a marketer. Mm-hmm. I've mentioned that before. And therefore, our live shows are marketing events.
Yeah.
And he says, when we promote it with our pamphlets and flyers, we put John Melendez's name on it. Mm-hmm. We've had DabbleCon. We've had DabbleCon too. We've had Dabble House. Is John's name Dabble? I don't think that's true. I think he just made that up.
No, but when you went door to door handing out flyers, I'm pretty sure it had Stuttering John's name on it.
No, we didn't. We never write Stuttering John on the pamphlets that we put underneath people's windshield wipers in the parking lots after the big podcast convention. We don't do that. So he just made that up. And again, this is trying to help with the LOLsuit that he's got going. And I can tell that he's talking directly to this new attorney because he's doing his attorney talk right here.
He's got to use my name. Hey, look, I also did this. And that's what he did. And when he would do I don't know why anybody would go. Well, in my honest opinion, I would not go to one of his shows, if you will, his marketing events. So I'm talking about when he would talk about what a great marketer he is.
So he's doing the law speak that VTL taught him. In my honest opinion, if you will. He has to start throwing that. Allegedly, Carl used to be in marketing and thought he was good at it or something like that. Honestly, now that I'm watching this back again, I might be completely backwards. I don't even know what he's talking about. Marketing events, marketing stuff. I think it's the right to publicity thing that he's suing for. He's lost the thread on this.
I don't think he knows. He's throwing everything at and I'm sure he's trying to convince the lawyers to do more than they want. And if I hired a second lawyer and they were spending the afternoon watching this, even if it was me, I'd be like, I need another lawyer. You should be doing something much more productive.
Right. All right. So then now it's Shuli's turn. So he just described that he didn't start the fire when it comes to me. But what about Shuli? Because they have a history together, right? And John would go on and say he's getting information about the Stern Show behind the scenes from his mole. And then we had the Pelican brief. And John put a photo of it in his book before anyone even saw the video. And he'd been talking about it for a while, this secret meeting where Howard told everyone to create fake Twitter accounts and tweet at celebrities in order to get big guests on the show. And John said Shuli was the mole that leaked that information. So now he's got to explain that no. I definitely was not trying to get Shuli fired by claiming that he was my mole on the inside.
And Royce and I would always goof. Now, it was never goofing on the people. We would say that Brent Hatley is our mole, or Shitware, or Mehmet. We would.
You had to remember to not say Shuli's name right there, or Shitware.
This would really convince me if I was the second attorney. If you're just tuning in.
It's Mehmet, by the way. It's not Mehmet.
The defense would like to call David Mamet.
That Brent Hatley is our mole, or Shitware, or Mehmet. We would go through a long list. Each day, we would name different people. I think Royce would even say Baba Booey is the mole. But we would say a bunch of different names, and that's a fact. Jack, and anybody who remembers that old show, like Benny Loco, and anybody. I know that even Vegas Beer Sells Jerry knows, and he remembers that Royce and I would always say different names, not to irritate the people, but to irritate Howard, to get him like, who the fuck is, that was it.
Oh, shit, John, you talked too much. You went too far. You just did the thing that you weren't trying to do. When we said Shuli was the mole, we weren't trying to fuck with Shuli. We were trying to let his employer know that he was feeding information that his employer wouldn't want out there. Yeah. That's why Shuli's concerned about getting fired when you say he's the mole, idiot. How stupid is John? He just said the thing out loud. No, that was that. We just wanted to get back to Howard.
I thought they would give him a promotion.
It's pretty embarrassing that I'm asking our employees to make fake Twitter accounts and tweet at celebrities, but thank you for letting John know. I'm really glad that you let Stuttering John know about it so that he could broadcast it on his show. And so then, I don't know if John realized how dumb that sounded or that he fucked up, but he talks more about how that was not his intent, obviously.
That's where it was, and we were not trying to get anybody fired, as some might suggest. We were just being goofballs and just, trying to hoping that Bobby Booey was watching or listening, whatever, and just, And by the way, it wasn't very often that we would do that. It would just be every once in a while we would say that.
John, do not take the witness stand, man. You're terrible at this.
Yes.
Holy shit.
The fact that he thinks this would be effective in any way to sway anybody over anything is retarded.
It's the opposite. He just confessed that he was trying to get Shuli fired, which is neither here nor there, but it's wild that he's trying to create this whole narrative. The whole point of the show is to be like, I am a victim. Mm-hmm. These people are all bullying me. I did nothing to bring this on. I don't know why it's even happening. It seems crazy that it's happening to me, but you got to believe me. I'm such a good boy. And yeah, was I saying that Shuli was the mole, and could that maybe lead to some issues for him with his employer? That's not what my intent was. We were never trying to get anyone fired. Actually, John literally tried to get J.D. Harmeyer fired. I've seen the tweets that he put out where he was trying to get HR involved in J.D. communicating with women in a sexual manner. I don't want to get J.D. in trouble right now, but I'm just saying this is what John was trying to do.
He was vocal about it on his show. He went on and on with no proof and just a gut feeling that this guy had to be fired.
Yes. And so for John to now come out and say, we never wanted to get anyone fired. No, you literally tried to get people fired. You wanted them to get fired, and you would have celebrated it. If Shuli had gotten fired, John would have had a victory lap show. Yes. Right. But even when we were playing from 2018, when all of this is happening that he's talking about, the Trump prank call. This giant victory lap for show after show after that. Imagine him getting Shuli fired or J.D. Harmeyer fired. Him and Royce would relish in it. But now it's John's going, we were just screwing around. We were joking around. It was sarcastic. We only did it a few times. The fact you have to say we only did it sometimes is not a good defense, man.
No.
You ever murder anyone? Not like every year. Yeah. What the fuck?
That would be nefarious.
And I hope he gets his license because he doesn't even, it's so obnoxious to think that people aren't going to notice when he talks about, I did a show and they were making fun of me. And then what are his words? He decided to call them out.
Right.
See, other people are picking on him and bullying him. He's calling them out. And also he's being goofy.
Yes.
Like he thinks we don't notice. You just substituted words. It's all the same thing you're volunteering to describe.
All right. This is just a fun one for me. John's got some problems with his hair. I guess he hasn't gotten it cut in a little while. It's not looking great.
The interview goes south, though, because it's like I have a clump coming over here. Let me see if I can get it behind my...
That's worse.
It's so weird when you just can
that's
never
worse.
get this right when... I don't know. It's bothering me. It's irritating me. Anyway.
Do you see you went to the wrong side twice? You could click a button that makes it a mirror image for you, John. It would solve all of your problems. It wouldn't solve any of his problems, but it would solve that one problem.
But I'm fascinated when people like that look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, oh, God, if only this.
Yeah.
If only I could fix this bit of hair, everything would be great.
He's trying to get it behind his ear like a girl, too. Like,
I have a clump.
All right. That was fun. Okay, so then he talks about how then he had Vince as a co-host. So he's going through the history of everything. Then he had Vince as a co-host, but Vince was too much of a troll, so that didn't last very long. And then he had Chrissy Mayer come on the show as a guest with Royce. And then he returned the favor by going on Chrissy Mayer's show. And that was the famous dabble in comedy incident where John got very offended that Chrissy has to be dabbled in comedy. And he says that's what started the dabbleverse. And John and Chrissy Mayer both think that that's what started the dabbleverse. It's why it's called the dabbleverse. That's it. Making fun of John was going to happen regardless of that interview, regardless of Chrissy Mayer existing in this world. John was starting the dabbleverse. This was going to happen no matter what. Because as much credit as I want to take for it, Who Are These Podcasts definitely, I think, opened up a lot of people's eyes to the buffoonery that is John Melendez. This would have happened regardless.
Sure.
Someone would have keyed in on this and turned John into a lol cow. It's inevitable.
But as it stands, the way he reacted to
us making fun of him.
Yeah.
And to ROTC.
Sure.
Well, Revenge of the Sis, those guys made fun of John. And John's response was to DM them on Twitter from his own Twitter account, claiming to be Vince the lawyer and giving them a cease and desist in a DM. And they went, holy shit, this guy's stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And they showed it and they had a lot of fun with
That
it.
was amazing.
So, yes, Revenge of the Sis, people would have caught on from that. People caught on from Who Are These Podcasts, obviously. But he talks about that's what happened, and that's why the Dabbleverse exists. So then he starts crying about how his gigs were getting canceled. So this is where the cry bully comes out.
I don't personally know how you could live with yourselves. Really trying to hurt the way that I can make a living. I was still paying child support. I think alimony could have been done by now, but I was still taking care of my children and still paying money and for a lot of different various things when, you know, in relation to school and other things. And, you know, and all of this is going on. And I don't know why. What did I do to these people?
So this is the parts that he leaves out. This is what I want to fill in some blanks for John. Because John just talks about like, and all these things that started happening to me and people were fucking with my life and I don't get it. Meanwhile, John had his buddy at the bar call Kamita Carlson for DabbleCon 2 and claimed to be an attorney and claimed that the illegal tapes that were going to be played were going to shut the club down. So John is guilty of this himself. Whereas Shuli and I have never called a comedy club to try to get him canceled. Anyone who hosts any of these shows has never done any of this stuff, and we've never told anyone to do it.
No.
We tell them not to.
We want him to do shows.
But the thing is that what John is leaving out here, that his attorney is not paid enough, probably doesn't know and maybe is watching now. The reason why people were lashing out and doing this to him is because he struck my channel. He tried to get my Patreon taken down. He tried to get our Discord server taken down. He struck Shuli's channel. He called Shuli's sponsors to get them to cancel sponsoring the show. And he would dox anyone and everyone he got a chance to. John was being a piece of shit.
He calls people's parents.
He called Shuli's dad.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he's telling the story, just everything just happened to him, and there was nothing he could do. Like, what is going on here? Whoa!
And his initial response to you reviewing his podcast was to
break my legs,
have your legs broken.
Yeah, you know, guys in the mafia in New York, and he could have my legs broken.
There's a movie about that because it's such a fantasy about this guy who gets a bad review of his play, so he hires the mob to like kill the writer, that's
the reviewer, right?
John doesn't realize the whole reason people run with this story is the subtext that you're not picking up on, which is guy from radio show who's famous for harassing celebrities is losing his mind because people are having the audacity to harass, he says, ask penetrating questions to this quote unquote celebrity. It's fucking funny. It was hilarious. Your bit. And now you don't see any humor in it. You see nothing. You talk about the lengths these trolls go to fuck with your life while you brag about sitting outside in a parking lot for 10 hours waiting for Chevy Chase. Like, we're supposed to give you an award for that, but everyone else needs to go to jail.
It's different when it happens to him, Adam, because that's him.
Oh, I see.
And he's had a very tough life.
I started starting to podcast on a regular basis, and that's when I was teaching full time, and then coming home and then doing a show. So I rarely went to the pub. I would do school, rush home, podcast, either watch the Yankees or football, whatever it was. And that was it. Go to bed and then get ready, get up at 7:00 the next morning to go back to school. And that's where all this started.
Now he's a sympathetic character. He rarely went to the pub. That's tough, man.
She drove it on Sundays only to church and back.
I know.
Then why does it look like this?
What the fuck is he talking about here? He's trying to paint this picture like, I got my gigs canceled, then I had to start doing a part-time job, and then I had to do my podcast, and I couldn't even get rip-roaring drunk by 4 p.m. He's saying the part you're not supposed to say out loud. We understand why you were bummed out about this, but that's not a normal reason. Having to work every day, it does not mean you're a victim of anything. So then we find out why Shuli started doing this. And he backtracks and goes, oh, that's right. The Howard Stern Show came to LA, and I went to the hotel to try to get an interview, and I talked to Shuli, and Shuli didn't respond. Shuli walked to the manager and had John removed. And so that's why Shuli started up his thing.
Yet that person went and called security and then used it as a jumping board for him to go to just do it.
Jumping board.
And ask if he could borrow the idea of just focusing on me. And therein lies the beginning of the harassment.
John.
And that is where the harassment
You want to talk to John? I'll pause it for a second, please.
You were stealing Howard's bit when you took the microphone and were stuttering John at the hotel to Shuli. It wasn't even your bit. Sorry.
And that is where the harassment began. When you have people doing shows on you every single day, focused on you.
Okay, so completely incorrect. Let me correct the record here about this jumping board that got Shuli into podcasting about him. So Shuli worked for the Howard Stern Show then, and then he left the Howard Stern Show in 2020 when everyone went remote, and he moved to Alabama, and he started a podcast, and immediately we connected because he was a fan of WATP. And I had him on the show, and I will never forget this conversation I had with him on the phone before his first appearance. I said, Shuli, you cool with doing a Stuttering John segment? And Shuli goes, no, I don't want to talk about Stuttering John. I said, yep, I get it. No problem. I do this with just about everyone of note who comes on the show. I ask what they're comfortable talking about, especially if they have a relationship with someone or if it's someone in show business. Whatever. You get it. So Shuli did not want to do that. He wanted to take the high road. And John just kept going after Shuli and fucking with him. And then finally, Shuli's like, Carl, let's do a Stuttering John segment. I was like, great. So we came on the show. We did it. well received. Obviously, the rest is history. Started Uncle Rico show and started doing all that. But John tries to pretend that because he was asking Shuli questions in a lobby, that's why the Uncle Rico show started. Not the case. Not that any of this matters. None of this is here nor there for a right of publicity suit. It's all silly. But it's just funny that this is what John thinks he's going to convince people happened.
Right.
And again, he's
practicing.
the victim. And the fact that he goes, and that's what started this harassment campaign where they're doing shows about me every day. Yeah, that's actually protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution. We could talk about John 24 hours a day.
Don't spoil the surprise.
All right. He'll find out soon enough. What a fucking asshole. So then John, again, he says things that he shouldn't say when he's trying to paint himself as the good guy in this, because he talks about how people were going to his events. And he said that me and Shuli are sending people to his events, which again is not true. And then it's like, but has John ever sent anyone to our event? And
Have I shown up to any of the gigs? No. Have I sent people to their gigs? No.
Have you?
The only person that went to one is Vegas Beer Sales Jerry, only to get a picture of Lardiff, because Lardiff had been involved, in my opinion, of nefarious acts. If you need examples, I shall give them to you. How about...
We'll get to those in a second. John, holy shit. Have I ever sent someone to their events? Okay, yeah, Vegas Beer Sales Jerry, I sent to Hackamania, but only so I could dox a guy who's performing there that I don't like.
Just take a picture. He's taking pictures.
Holy shit, what an idiot. So then he after he says that, he has to justify why he would do that.
If you need examples, I shall give them to you.
Yeah,
how about going to my court hearing when I was in class?
It's perfectly legal to do.
Yeah.
And a civic duty to keep drunks off the road.
It's true.
At least he's honest about being in class when he was doing the court thing.
Right.
What a moron.
Yeah, well, there's no way around that.
He thinks it makes him look good.
Yeah, that's
he's
right.
a teacher.
I was in church.
I love that so much because it's just, he's going, yeah, these guys do this stuff to me. I don't do it to them. Well, okay, I did do it that one time, but it's justified because we wanted to dox this guy who's a jerk.
Oh, okay. No, it's cool, Your Honor. It's cool. Everybody.
Got it. And then a super chatter comes in and explains to John actually why the dabbleverse exists.
The dabbleverse exists because you're a constant jackass. Yeah, he wants to make me look stupid.
No one has to make you look stupid, dummy. He's talking about Cardiff still, right there. And so Cardiff's also the one who showed the body cam footage of John getting pulled over. And John doesn't know what that's called, and he's very upset about it.
He then obtained my car cam footage, only to release that. Why? For profit. And again, to say, look at this buffoon. Now, we all have gotten tickets, but have I ever thought about getting the cop cam footage? That requires an unstable human being.
Okay, so let me just correct John on this. I don't think he realizes that having a FOIA request is done all the time in media and podcasting. All the true crime shows, anyone who's investigating anything, who's a journalist or goofing on a loser, sends in FOIA requests all the time. Cardiff wasn't the only one who put a FOIA request in for that body cam footage. He was just the first one to show it on his stream. And also this idea that we would all look as bad as John did in that incident where he's pretending to talk to his buddy who's a cop on the phone. He doesn't know. Oh, I just moved here. The guy's like, really? Because you got a ticket 8 months ago. Oh, really? Where was that? I don't know. It was so funny.
He looks like shit.
He looks like shit. Smelled bad somehow.
Do you know him?
Yeah. Do you know this guy? Sir, here's your ticket. When you're substitute teaching, you can use a Zoom link to go to court. So John's pretending that this all makes Cardiff a horrible person. No, it makes him a good podcaster. Is what this does. He's just like, well, you have to be a lunatic to do that. No, you'd have to be like good at your job and have some follow through. Things that John will never have. This is my favorite right here. I know I've already declared that once, but it's also my favorite. John's always ragging on people for misspellings in their super chats or just the chat or whatever. So someone points out that John misspelled the name of his show from the previous day. And, oh boy.
Uh-oh.
He's going to call me out for a misspelling. I'm going to entertain it only because why not? I had this thing when I would type the title of the show where I'd have to only take one breath in. But I have to keep on breathing while I typed it. So imagine typing the Stuttering John, but you still have to be one breath. This is my OCD. So the Stuttering John podcast, period. Without stopping breathing, without stopping it.
Please stop breathing.
Breathing in. Okay.
Okay. So he misspelled the is just TE, and the guy shows that. But John is a good excuse. He's a mental patient. That's a terrible excuse. No, you don't understand. I've tricked my brain into thinking that bad things will happen if I'm not breathing in while I'm typing. Well, stop doing that, stupid. It's not a thing.
What about the years we spent watching him type with one finger, not breathing like that?
Yeah.
All day, every day.
A pretty good point. Also, what about going back and correcting it after the fact? You can't just put your cursor back next to that T and type an H?
Also, how about when you read a chat where somebody does that, you extend them the same courtesy and go, hold on. I bet they're suffering from a crippling OCD breathing dilemma, and we should have a little sympathy.
He literally called someone out right after this. I didn't even pull the clip because there's just so many examples of it. It's like, okay, so when John does it, he's justified in doing it. But actually, it's better than that. It turns out that wasn't even a misspelling.
It's not misspelling. It's just, when you're typing fast, I guess you could call it a misspelling, but it's not like I don't know how to spell it. It's because I'm typing fast because I'm trying to get it all in. Now I just change it to SJ because it's just too long to breathe in that long, especially I type with two fingers. So nice try and go fuck yourself.
He's a miracle, isn't he?
Yeah.
Also, it is called the SJ podcast, and he still had a typo in there. So he's like, this is the correction I made, but it still didn't fix it. And the word is spelled wrong, but that's not a misspelling when he does it. He just said it's not a misspelling.
It was Spanish.
And he doesn't know how to type. So it's not his fault. Like, all these things are his fault. Breathing, misspelling, typing. I just thought that was fun. All right, so John went through his whole version of what happened with the dabbleverse, so someone calls him out on that.
Brian Clouder, correct me. Tell me where I was wrong. Tell me where.
So the chat just says, that's your version, but not what happened.
I was wrong. I'd love to hear it. What did I get wrong? The Christian Bear story? What did I get wrong? The interview at the hotel? You tell me what I got wrong.
I'd be happy to.
Mm-hmm.
You left out all the stuff where you fucked with people. For example, you decided you wanted to get Dr. Steve. You wanted to get him fired from his job. And everyone loves Dr. Steve. And that's when Quadfather turned on you. And that's when Cardiff went, oh, fuck this guy. And Cardiff put it down into third gear, downshifted, and fucking floored it. It's like, all right, it's on now, motherfucker. A lot of retaliation is all the stuff that you left out. And to act like, and again, none of it matters, but to act like this just poor old John just being a poor victim who never did anything to anyone, never even harm a fly. And everyone's just doing this shit to him because they're all nefarious and evildoers.
And why he would choose to get on the air and explain to everyone, including his lawyers, that none of that is true. And this is all just, it is his doing. He is lying about all of it. He's volunteering to do this.
Yes. Mm-hmm. He thought this was a good strategy for him.
Yep.
There's
something about these guys. They say things on the air and they just think that's the new fact. Yep. As long as they've got it out on the air, everyone's heard it, and that's where it lies right now until someone fucks it up. Alex
Stein thinks that Aaron's hilarious and an amazing broadcaster because that's what Aaron told me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. One more clip that I have on here because speaking of Aaron Imholte, I think we brought up how great it would be if John started begging for money on his show. And so someone tried to make this happen.
Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo. I don't know what that means. You got to be clear, and I'm not mentioning some of the things in that.
That would be sweet if we could get John doing the Becky Monster segments.
You gotta keep on dancing.
There's been a theme today, isn't there?
Yeah, it's really sad.
It's really sad. Adam, you pulled a couple of Stuttering John cuts. You've been watching him over the last few days.
Oh yeah, do you have the one where he explains what he stands for? It's
I
very
have,
satisfying.
I have 1, 2, and 3, so you have to be more specific.
That'll be 1.
Great. He's so slow.
Kelly Clarkson is beautiful. You should stand with Greenland. Please go there. I do stand with Greenland. I'm Danish, you dumb fuck. Of course I stand with Greenland. I have a shirt that says it.
Oh, wow.
Send me $10. I'll go grab my fucking shirt. Ah! Ah!
Performative, John. I'll send you $10 to go to Greenland, you idiot. For people who don't know, that's a way of offing yourself. Internet speak. I think Dick Masterson came up with it.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
So he doesn't even question himself for a second. He just runs right with it to defend the fair people of Greenland.
Of course, yes. Of course he stands with Greenland.
In this next one, I believe he thinks he's taking a call from Anthony Cumia, and he finally decides to give Anthony the business.
Nice.
About me. Oh, are you still calling me? Do you still want my validation? Do you want my validation, you motherfucker? No response.
You got him.
They hung up.
Another win for the toe.
Pussy boy didn't even respond.
Uh-oh.
What a pussy boy. I'm sorry, I can't say that anymore. I heard that's homophobic. Look,
That's homophobic.
I learn and I grow. That's all you can do.
That's what everyone says about you, John.
That's how the world, at least if you're an intelligent, caring, empathetic man, then when somebody corrects you, you either refuse to take that correction and say, fuck it, I'm going to say whatever I want, or you make the intelligent and compassionate decision to say, all right, if that offends you, I'm not going to say it anymore. Now that's because I'm
amazing.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
you're
great.
the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the one who told you to stop saying pussy boy? Was it your son Knight, who has a pussy and is a boy? Because that would be offensive, I would think, to your son Knight. I can't believe it took you years to figure out to stop saying pussy boy. I mean, Chad Zumach wrote it on your door, and you won't bring up Chad's name anymore because of it. Why are you still slipping up and saying pussy boy? And also, who gives a fuck? None of it matters.
I love how he goes out of the way to let us know that he doesn't agree or really know why this word is bad. He's just
apparently
heard from
it's homophobic
somewhere.
to call someone a pussy boy.
Apparently.
Transphobic, actually, Chad, but whatever.
He heard from somewhere, but the speech he gave was correct. And that is, we have to give him credit. That is how you're supposed to handle things. That is the best way to react. And it's exciting to see it in action a few moments later.
When Barack Obama tells you that you can't say retard anymore.
It's done. It's done.
You write it down, you store it back here.
If you're any kind of American.
That's right.
Question. People have been pointing out that P-boy is transphobic since the first time you said it. What made you see that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Come
Question.
on.
People have been pointing out that who's P-boy is transphobic.
It's bad acting, John.
It's really bad acting.
Dude, you got to be more specific. I don't understand what this means.
Sure you don't.
Like a real teacher taking the opportunity to share his knowledge with these people. Instead, he just runs and hides. Run away. Run away.
What a fucking asshole. Hey, John, it's taken you years to figure out that you shouldn't say pussy boy. Say what now? Who is this? Wrong number. My phone. Gotta go.
Did you notice that there was a thing going on with him a couple times in those earlier clips you pulled where he just, I feel like something was going on with his body. Like he was burping underneath but trying to hide it, where he would just...
I didn't pick up on that, but he's very gross, so I believe
there's something going on. The degree to which he is falling apart from anybody that sees him now. We see him all the time. If you look back at those older clips, it is insane how he is deteriorating before our eyes.
It's not great.
Nope. I mean, it's fun, but it
is fun.
Very fast.
So what's going to happen with this LOLsuit if he doesn't make it all the way to the end of it? I don't know how that works. I'll ask someone who knows. By the way, a shout out to Lucy Does Dabbleverse on the Once Over with Kaylee channel. Monday night, she did a show with Trucker Andy and Luigi Greenberg breaking down the latest of the LOLsuit. There's a lot going on, and they do a great job of breaking all that down. So if you have 3 hours to learn more about the LOLsuit and where things are at, I recommend going and checking that out. I can't wait to be able to talk about it. I know. Chomping at the bit.
There was the best moment where a chat came in saying that Typebox is a paralegal, and John is so threatened by that. And he goes, oh, a paralegal? Well, I'll have you know, I'm thinking about taking the LSATs. And that means in 3 years, I'm going to be a lawyer. He's comparing her accomplishments to the things he might eventually do and explaining how he wins.
He's a miracle. He really is.
Who are these podcasts?